Let's just jump right into this explainer because we are looking at a mind-blowing reality today. We have literally only scratched the surface of ancient Egypt. When we think of Egypt, our minds instantly go to the classics, right? The massive pyramids at Giza, King Tut's gold mask, the sprawling temples over in Luxor. It kind of feels like this history book has been totally written, edited, and published. But actually, recent dispatches from the front lines of archaeology are telling a completely different and, frankly, astonishing story about what is still out there, waiting to be found.
And get this, according to Hisham al-Lithi, the Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Antiquities, a staggering 70% of Egypt's antiquities remain entirely hidden beneath the sand. I mean, let that sink in for a second. Everything you have ever seen in a museum, every documentary you've watched, every colossal monument rising out of the desert floor, that represents just 30% of the whole picture. Vast, historic treasures from successive civilizations are just sitting quietly right now beneath the soil, waiting for their moment to return to the light.
Because there is so much left to uncover, the sheer scale of the operation happening over there right now is just mind-boggling. We're talking 300 foreign and 50 Egyptian missions actively excavating as we speak. That's 350 dedicated teams out there. It absolutely proves Egypt isn't some stagnant museum. It's a highly active frontier for world-changing revelations. A perfect example of this, and something we really want to focus on here, is a recent discovery of the El-Khawy Hieroglyphs. These date back a massive 5,500 years, making them the absolute earliest monumental Egyptian writing ever found. We're talking huge symbols carved into the stone, including things like a pregnant elephant and solar cycle signs. It's a huge deal because these symbols are completely rewriting our understanding of early Egyptian cosmology. They show us exactly how they were mapping the universe long before the very first pyramid was ever even a blueprint.
Section 1. Beyond the Pharaohs, a cultural melting pot.
So it's super important to remember that Egyptian history spans a massive, interconnected timeline stretching way beyond just the Old and New Kingdoms. The archaeological wealth here extends deep into the Ptolemaic, Roman, and Byzantine eras. It created this incredible cultural melting pot over time. The artifacts we're pulling out of the ground today reflect a society that was constantly adapting, borrowing, and blending traditions from all over the Mediterranean world for thousands of years.
For instance, imagine just walking through an entirely intact 4th century Byzantine city smack in the middle of the Western Desert. Well, archaeologists actually found exactly that in the Dakhla Oasis. We're talking a fortified settlement complete with a Christian basilica, watchtowers, and mud brick houses. It gives us this incredibly rare glimpse into everyday urban life back then. Meanwhile, near Alexandria at Marina El Alamein, teams uncovered 18 Greco-Roman tombs. Some of these were incredibly preserved, with stone slab seals totally untouched since antiquity, sitting right alongside a plaster sphinx and these stunning gold artifacts.
But what's truly fascinating here is how these cultures blend together. At that Marina El Alamein site, researchers found a massive, 2.5-meter-long granite sarcophagus. But right nearby, they found evidence of a highly localized funerary practice involving 4 gold pieces known as the Golden Tongue. This was actually a ritual meant to allow the deceased to speak to the gods in the afterlife. It's a perfect snapshot of a society where you have thriving Byzantine urban life on one hand, and these deeply enduring traditional Egyptian funerary practices on the other.
Section 2. The Iliad Mummy Mystery.
Now, this fascinating blend of cultures brings us to a really surprising discovery about 120 miles south of Cairo. This one dates back 1,600 years and involves a mummy, a wooden sarcophagus, and a totally unexpected piece of literature. It all went down in the ruins of Oxyrhynchus. By the year 400 CE, this was a vital urban center heavily influenced by Greco-Roman culture. Researchers from the University of Barcelona were examining a Roman-era mummy in a funerary complex there. And when papyrologist Leah Massia looked closely at some parchment placed inside the mummy's chest cavity, she realized they had stumbled onto something that literally rewrites the narrative of ancient embalming.
So here's the crucial contrast. Typically, after dehydrating a body in natron salt, embalmers would pack the chest with clay-encased papyrus fragments that had standard magical text and religious spells on them, to guide the dead. But instead of magical texts, specialists packed the specific mummy's chest cavity with a famous literary catalog of Greek ships sailing for Troy. It was literally an exact excerpt from Book 2 of Homer's epic poem, the Iliad. Finding a literary papyrus recycled in this specific funerary context is a massive first. It proves just how deeply integrated Greco-Roman literature had become with traditional Egyptian death rituals. I mean, Homer inside an Egyptian mummy, wow.
Section 3. Treasures of Luxor. The sands still deliver.
That don't go thinking the classical Egyptian sands are empty just because we're finding these Greco-Roman anomalies. The landscape is absolutely still delivering massive traditional treasures, especially in the incredibly monument-rich area of Luxor on the west bank of Upper Egypt. Consider the staggering variety of recent finds in the Drea Abel Naga necropolis. An Egyptian mission uncovered this beautifully decorated tomb of a purification priest, and the inscriptions actually mentioned his wives Isis and Ta-Khaft, who were singers of Amun. They also dug up a sandstone pyramidion belonging to a noble scribe named Benji, and, get this, an entire cache of more than 30 mummified cats wrapped in linen from the Ptolemaic era. Because, let's be real, even ancient Egyptians couldn't resist a feline companion. It's an absolute treasure trove of daily, religious, and administrative ancient life.
But honestly, maybe the most intriguing find in Luxor was the discovery of 10 well-preserved wooden coffins hidden inside a burial shaft right in the courtyard of a senior statesman's tomb. Finding 10 highly decorated wooden coffins that span completely different periods, we're talking from the 18th dynasty all the way across a huge timeline gap to the late period, all packed together in one statesman's courtyard, that raises a pretty big historical mystery. Why on earth were they all placed there together?
Well, the answer actually points to a desperate ancient rescue mission. That shaft was used as a cachette, a secret hiding place. The mummies inside those coffins were actually found in a really poor state of preservation. Archaeologists figured out that's because they had to be hurriedly moved in antiquity from their original resting places into this courtyard shaft just to protect them from rampant grave robbers. It's kind of a striking reminder that the preservation of history has been an ongoing, active battle for literally thousands of years.
Section 4. Rewriting History in 2026.
As we start to wrap up this explainer, let's look at what the future holds. Because if you ask one of the most famous names in archaeology, we are on the precipice of an impending paradigm shift coming to the world very, very soon, specifically in 2026. Renowned Egyptologist and former Minister of Antiquities, Zahi Hawass, is teasing a truly monumental revelation. Using state-of-the-art tech and advanced robots to get into previously unreachable areas, his team detected a 30-meter-long passageway deep inside the Great Pyramid of Giza. And according to Hawass, whatever lies behind the door at the very end of this tunnel is going to completely rewrite a chapter in the history of the pharaohs.
And that single door is really just one part of Hawass's broader, incredibly ambitious bucket list. He claims he's on the verge of fulfilling two massive archaeological wishes. First up, he wants to uncover the tomb of Imhotep. That's the brilliant engineer who transitioned Egypt from mud brick to stone and designed the step pyramid of Djoser. Hawass says he actually has active evidence of its existence, and he believes finding it would eclipse even the discovery of King Tutankhamun. Second on his list, the legendary, long-lost tomb of Queen Nefertiti. So between hidden passages inside the Great Pyramid and 350 active missions digging through the sands every single day, the momentum right now is just unbelievable. We'll leave you with this provocative thought. If we have found all of this, from golden tongues to mummies clutching Homer's Iliad to those 5,500-year-old El-Khawy hieroglyphs mapping early cosmos, all the way to the breathtaking treasures of Tutankhamun. If we found all of that in just the 30% uncovered so far, what other mind-blowing secrets are waiting beneath the sand in that remaining 70%? The true golden age of Egyptian discovery might not actually be in the past. It might be happening right now.